And you guys hear my daughter in the background, you will know that that's just life. But welcome to this Diamond Dash webinar. I'm so excited to be here today with you guys and to share with you my story a little bit and to share with you some things that I feel have made such a big difference for me as I started building this business and going for it. So just to give you guys a little bit of a background of who I am and where I came from, why I'm speaking to you guys today. My name is Brigitte Limpford. I am a 15-star diamond coach in my first business center, a 3-star in my second, and I have 26 personally sponsored lifetime diamonds, and 19 of those have advanced to star diamond rank. I'm a 2-time elite coach, the 2014 Leadership Award recipient, and a Success Club 10 All-Star Legend. And so luckily those things have happened, and so I had this opportunity to speak with you guys today because I want you to know, like, those titles, those things that have all happened, I don't think that they ever would have happened if it weren't for the experiences that I've had leading up to it. Because I want you guys to know, like, I did not grow up being groomed for success. I feel like I was being groomed for failure. I grew up being bullied. I grew up being made fun of in school. At a very, very young age, I remember having severe depression. This little photo of me in the middle, that's me when I was in 6th grade. And that is when the depression really took a hold of my soul and everything about me and ruled my life. I remember in 6th grade writing suicide letters during recess because I felt that I had no value. I felt that there was nothing that I could do to be happy. I didn't see that there was any way out of the pain that was controlling my life. And I just lived this life of feeling like I just need to endure to the end and get through life and hope for a better life in heaven afterwards. And I totally fell into a victim mentality. That's what it comes down to. I was a victim 100%. I didn't feel that I had any control and that everyone else was controlling me. I felt that there was nothing that I could do. This led to me going to college and being kicked out of college twice because my grades were so bad. How that works, like, my grades were so bad, they kicked me out, put me on a probation, and said, you've got to, like, a couple months here to figure things out, and then you can come back. And I came back, figured things out. I was gone, well, actually for an entire year. They made me leave for a year, and I didn't even tell my parents. I told them I wanted to go to real estate school and take a break from college. So I went to real estate school during that time and got my real estate license. And for an entire year, I worked as a real estate agent, and I did not sell a single property. I never had a house listed. I did nothing as a real estate agent for that entire year. So I failed miserably at that profession. I got back into college and I didn't pull it together, and I was kicked out for a second time. I never told my parents. I just said, this isn't for me. I can't do this. And they didn't know that I got kicked out. They thought that I just dropped out. It culminated in me being admitted to a mental hospital, which is just crazy to me that I'm even telling you guys this because up to just 5 years ago, my own brothers and sisters didn't even know. The only people that knew that I had ever been in a mental hospital was my husband and my mom and my dad, and that was it. And the only reason that my mom and dad knew about it was because when I got out, I couldn't pay the bill. Like, nobody even knew when I was in the mental hospital that I was there because I had isolated myself so much from society. So that's me, and that's my history. That's like the background. And I understand it's so heavy, but like, I hope that you can see that if I can change, like if I can take all of that, this person who secluded themselves and didn't like talking to people to the point where for days and days, I remember hiding in my room in college and never leaving my room. And when my roommates would come in and I could hear that they were approaching my door, I would hide underneath a pile of clothes because I didn't want to talk to anybody. Like, I was so secluded and so wrapped up in my own misery, I couldn't even see straight. Like, I couldn't think of anybody else. I couldn't think of anything else. And for me to go from that to go to this life that I have now is completely a 180. And it's completely been changing. And I've realized, like, what is it? What is the difference? What makes it so someone who also it was overweight, never lived a healthy lifestyle, could become a health and fitness coach who talks to people all day and is focused on like, how can I, serve people and help them? Like, how does that happen? And I've realized it has come down to a really big key thing. And that has been the difference between my focus beforehand. Because this is what I saw. This is what I viewed my life as. It was gross. It was like I didn't even want to look at it. It felt ugly and disgusting and nasty and just gross. I was abused. I was mistreated. I felt I had no worth. And this is what I saw. When in reality, it was this gorgeous, delicious pizza. It's the only way I can really describe it. If you guys think of, I remember this old show that used to be on TV, and it was called, what was it called? I wrote this down. What Do You See? Or something like that. It was, What Do You See? And it was like this kid's TV show. And they would show that close-up. They would show that close-up of something, and people would be like, ew, that looks so gross. And it just felt, and then they'd zoom back out and they'd realize like, oh, that's something that is desirable. That's something that's beautiful. That's something that has value and worth. And me, the same person who felt that I had no worth and no point in even being here, that the world would be a better place without me, I'm the same person I am today, but there's a different perspective. And I've realized that that same thing is not this zoomed up, close, gross picture that you're like, ew, I would never eat that in a million years, to thinking if I can change the way that I'm looking at things, change my perspective, that it's going to make all the difference in the world. And so I did. I changed my perspective from having a victim mentality, having a mentality that the world has done me wrong and there's nothing that I can do about it, to realizing that I am the CEO of my own life. Those are simply experiences, the things that may have happened to me that are less than ideal. Those are experiences. They do not identify me. They do not create my identity. Even still, the things that I mentioned of, okay, these are my new experiences, having this success in Beachbody, those still don't even define me. Those are now just new experiences. But by changing my perspective and saying, you know what, I'm in control. It's my choice what happens to me in my life. And based on my choices, based on my perspective, I can have this experience or I can have this experience. So I changed the perspective, and that's what led to the different experiences. So here, this webinar here, I'm here to show you guys how. How do you change your perspective on things? How do you change your approach so that you are a CEO? You have that CEO mindset, not the mindset of a victim, Because I'll be honest, in this business, I see the victim mentality a lot. And I think I see it a lot because I can identify it because that's something I was very, very familiar with. That's something that ruled my life for so long. And so I see coaches who have this victim mentality. They have this idea that you've done me wrong, you owe me, what are you going to do for me? If I'm failing, this is your fault, or it's my upline's fault. I don't know what to do this. Nobody's talking to me. Everyone's saying no to me. Blah, 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 whine, 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 zoomed up on the pizza. Of course it's disgusting. Of course you don't want to eat it. Take a step back, change your perspective, and realize it's completely up to you. I want to share this analogy with you guys, and it's something that was shared with me. I don't remember by who. But what you've been presented with here is this opportunity to own your own restaurant, okay? Pretend you just bought this franchise and you have your own restaurant now. And the person who sold you this restaurant, they gave you a big fat manual that has all of the tips and tricks for running this successful restaurant. And they've given it to you. And so you show up on Monday morning and you stand outside of your restaurant and you wait. You wait for the person who sold you that restaurant to come in and unlock the door for you. Come in and put the chairs down, the tables, open up your register, and get the word out of the restaurant is there, and start taking the orders from the customers, and cook the food, and serve the food. You think that that's that person's responsibility, and it's not. This is your restaurant, guys. You have to show up every single day and say, I'm going to open the door for business. I'm going to post on social media and let people know I'm open for business. That is not my job to do that for you. And that is not Scotty's job to do that for you. Or Alethia's job to do it for you, or Jennifer Greenberg's, or Keisha's, or Missy's, or Breezy's. Nobody is going to come open the door of your restaurant except for you. That's your job. You're the CEO now of this company. You get to look at the manual. You get to see, how do I build this business? That's why you're on this call, which I'm so proud of you for doing that. But it's up to you to get in every single day and open your own restaurant and say, I'm open for business. It's your job to get those chairs off the table every single morning. It's your job to open the register, and it's your job to figure out, how do I cook the food? What is the best presentation? And how do I deliver this food? And the cool thing is, though, guys, we're here to show you our tips, our tricks, and the best ways that we have learned how to present the food. The best ways we have learned how to efficiently get all of the chairs off the tables in the morning. We're here to show you, this is how I'm marketing my restaurant, because I have my own restaurant, and I'm working on my own restaurant, and I don't quit working on my own restaurant. But I can show you, this is what I'm doing. This is how I'm cooking the hamburger patty so that it makes a nice little circle, and this is how I'm doing my challenge group so that I get success and people have results. And this is how I'm crafting my challenge group invite post, and so people connect with me. But I am not going to write your own post. You have to do it. That's your job. You get to be the CEO. So once you change that mentality and you realize that this is simply an opportunity for you, but you have to take it. And the problem is, it's like the downfall of Beachbody is that it only costs you $40 to buy that restaurant. $40. Sometimes you pay nothing. And so you get in and you kind of treat it like a $40 business. And that's kind of, I think, the downfall in what gives things like network marketing a bad reputation, because somebody paid nothing for this restaurant. They got it for free because they wanted to buy their own food. Right? They wanted to buy their own fitness and Shakeology, so they were given this restaurant for free. And so they never bother to show up and open the door. Or they go in and open the door and then sit inside and wonder, I have no idea how to cook the food. And they never open the manual, They never learn how to run the register. And so they're just sitting there doing nothing. And then they're like, you know what, this restaurant work doesn't work for me. So they close the door and then they go tell everyone that they know, don't go buy restaurants because they doesn't work. And it's like, it does work, but you have to work. You have to put in the effort. So 4 main things, okay? 4 key things that I want to share with you guys to help you move into this mindset of realizing that if it's going to be, it's up to me. That's the mindset that we're shifting to. Now, I could list a lot of things, but I'm trying to keep this within maximum of an hour. I'm going to try to go fast. But there's several key things that I have noticed between the differences of, moving out of a victim mentality into a CEO mindset. And I'm going to go over the things that I feel are the most prevalent and maybe just most at the forefront of my mind. The first one being that you have to be a big thinker. Now, a big thinker is someone like Scotty Hobbs, actually. That's why I included his photo on here, because when I think of someone who dreams big, who thinks big, I do think of Scotty Hobbs. Like, how many times have I seen Scotty Hobbs make a video sharing his goals, sharing where he wants to be in life, sharing his vision for what he's going to accomplish and the direction that he's taking his life? Do you think that that is maybe a clue? I think so. I think that that's a big clue. I'll tell you, it drew me to Scotty when I knew this is the vision that he has for his life. Sign me up. Like, I wanted the same thing. So there right there is a clue for you saying that, yes, I need to think big. I need to open my eyes to the possibilities of what could be. And taking it a step further, I get to share that on social media. When was the last time you shared a dream board on social media? When was the last time you shared with your team the goals and the visions that you had for what could be accomplished that month? When was the last time you shared those visions and it didn't just keep it to yourself? And are you even looking at the grand possibilities, looking for opportunities to learn and opportunities to expand? I love this quote from Donald Trump. It says, you have to think anyway, so why not think big? That guy thinks big too. And I'm not saying anything about a political debate here or anything. I'm just looking at the business record that he has. Does he think big? Yeah, he does. Is that maybe, again, a clue to why he's been so successful in business? Because people are drawn to that, those big thinkers, they're drawn to that. That's what his CEO does. I love anytime that I get to hear from Carl Deichler, because that man has vision. He has a vision for this company. And he knows every single month is going to be a record-breaking month. Every single launch that we have is going to be the biggest launch that we ever have. And we ain't seen nothing yet. And it's going to be big. And he's just larger than life. He's so big. And that's a clue, right? All of these things are success leaves clues. I love this quote from Tim Tebow. He says, I try to learn from every experience, good or bad. And that, again, is another aspect of this thinking big, because you get to learn from every positive experience that happens in your life and look at that as what is there to learn from this experience? And to take that even a step further, make a Facebook post about it. Because now you're showing people okay, this is how I'm learning, this is what I'm doing to kind of grow and move forward. And you're sharing that so that people even connect with you now. So that's something I feel I've learned to do and do kind of well, is that when something crappy happens, and I realize that it's just simply an experience. I'm just here to go through life, have these experiences, and learn through life, through the good and through the bad. So when there's something that happens that is less than ideal in my life, I look at that and I'm like, okay, Obviously, there was a purpose. There was a reason why this happened. What did I get to learn from this experience? And it gives you actually so much peace. You know, if I'm talking to you as like a therapist here, by the way, I go to therapy consistently. And yes, I definitely think that has made a difference. But that's one of the things that I do in my therapy sessions. And one of the things why I like the therapists that I work with, because in every experience that we talk about, so that I can heal and work through things, the focus of talking about that experience is so that I can learn what was the positive thing that I learned from this experience that I could have not learned by any other means. Because that's exactly why you go through certain experiences. Because if you hadn't, you would have never learned this positive, good thing that was meant for you in your life. But there's also good learning experiences from the positive things. You know, so each day, as I'm laying in bed, I'm like, what did I learn? What are the good things? Or why are these good things happening? So what can I identify in my own life are the clues? I kind of like to talk about that a lot. You can probably tell. Success leaves clues, right? I feel like life is just, I don't know, I think it's kind of fun now. Now that I decided I still wanted to be here, I realized that life is kind of unique and it's kind of funny. And there's all these lessons that I can learn. And so, like, what do I get to learn from these experiences and take away from it, the good and from the bad in everything? And I think that again, contributes to that CEO mindset. I wanted to share with you guys this story. Let me pull this out. It's from this book called How Successful People Think. Really great book. But this is a story about Sam Walton. He is the guy behind Walmart. And think what you want about Walmart. It's a very successful business. And so we can look at it as a clue. There must be a clue there as to why they are so successful. So we are being curious. We're putting our detective caps on here and studying it. So this is a story from the former president, Don Soderquist. And he went with Sam Walton to a different store in Alabama. And they went in there to kind of scope out the competition, I guess you could say. And this is what he said. This is from Soderquist. He said, "We went into one store, and I have to tell you that it was the worst store I have ever seen in my life. It was terrible. There were no customers. There was no help on the floor. The aisles were cluttered with merchandise, empty shelves, dirty. It was absolutely terrible. Walton walked one way, and I'd walk the other way, and we kind of met out on the sidewalk. He said, 'What did you think, Don?' I said, 'Sam, that was the absolutely worst store I have ever been in my life. I mean, did you see the aisles?' He said, 'Don, did you see the pantyhose rack?' I said, 'No, I didn't, Sam. I must have gone on a different aisle than you. I didn't see that.' He said, 'That was the best pantyhose rack I've ever seen, Don. I pulled the fixture out, and on the back was the name of the manufacturer. When we get back, I want you to call the manufacturer and have him come and visit our fixture people. I want to put that rack in our store. It's absolutely the best I've ever seen. Did you see the ethnic cosmetics?' And he goes, 'I haven't. That must have been right next to the pantyhose. I didn't see it.' And he said, 'Don, do you realize that in our stores, we have 4 feet of ethnic cosmetics? These people had 12 feet. We are missing the boat. I wrote down the distributors of some of these products. When we get back, I want to get a hold of the cosmetic buyers and get those people in. We absolutely need to expand our ethnic cosmetics.'" Now, he relates this story and he talks about how it wasn't so much, Sam Walton didn't hit him on the head when he was being negative and saying, "What are you thinking here?" But he showed by example that he was going to focus on what are other people doing that is right. And how can I duplicate that? How can I make that my own? How can I work and how can I focus on the good and identify that and apply it in my own life? And do you think that's a clue as to how he has become so successful? I think so. Instead of walking into a store and saying, "Everything here is crap, There's nothing here that we could possibly duplicating. We are rocking him. We've got nothing to worry about. Instead, he was saying, where can I improve? Now, another part of thinking big is you get to focus on your goals. You get to focus on where you want to be. And we talk about this with your why. Like, and the why is like that deep emotional thing of what drives you forward, that you know, like, if I'm doing this every single day, it's going to bring me to success. And I love this quote from Alvin Toffler. It says, you've got to think about big things while you're doing small things so that all the small things go in the right direction. Guys, every single day, can we all just admit it feels like a lot of small things? It feels like we're doing a lot of things that maybe feel mundane, or they feel like this can't possibly be that important. Like, I'm just checking Facebook. I'm making a Facebook post and I'm making sure that I comment and like on other people's posts. Like, this is so small. Like, how is this going to be related to my goal to bring my husband home from the military, or whatever your deep emotional why is? But it's those small things, keeping in mind the perspective of where you want to be and having that big grand picture at all times, that helps you stay consistent with those small things and helps give it purpose, helps give it meaning. Okay? Along with this grand vision and forward thinking mindset, I feel it goes along with when we can keep the grand perspective when we're dealing with people, right? We're dealing with people, and here's the thing. Beforehand, I used to be so annoyed with people, like I didn't like anyone. And it stemmed from me because I didn't like myself, right? But people constantly annoyed me, like all the time. And so I didn't really have friends. Like I said, I disassociated myself from everybody, even my own parents and my family. And I have had to learn that I have to take that step back, have that grand perspective, that grand vision. But part of that is to see this from another person's perspective, see this from another person's side, and realize what's going on in this person's life. When you have a coach who is struggling on your team and they go inactive, do you approach them like, I'm so annoyed with you, I can't believe you went inactive, don't you realize that really screws up my plan of going diamond by this date? Is that your perspective? You can't do that. You have to have the perspective of realizing these are human beings. They have emotions, they have experiences that have trained them to act in certain ways. And if you could just see things from their perspective, like, you would love them with your whole heart. This is getting a little personal, I guess, for you guys, but one of the things that I have done with my husband in therapy is to have us listen in on one another in therapy. My marriage has not always been a good thing. Like, we struggled. And I think maybe everybody does. I don't know. I don't talk about marriages with other people, but we've been through hard times. And we've been through times where it was like, what are we going to do to keep this going, or are we done? And as we've gone through therapy, though, and we listened in as just a silent observer to the other person pouring open their heart, you see things from a different perspective. When you see what somebody has been through that has molded them to the person that they are. And my husband and I, coming home from one session, just kind of had that realization that, if you could sit in on a therapy session of everyone in the world, how much love and acceptance and forgiveness you would so freely give. And I just feel like that's something you've got to keep in mind. Like, if you only knew what was going on behind doors with somebody else, how kind would you treat them? How loving would you reach out to them? That's a characteristic of a CEO mindset, of keeping that kind of perspective and open forgiveness with other people and giving them the benefit of the doubt. So that's a key thing. Another key thing after being a big thinker is you have to self-motivate. This is kind of multi-layered here. To be a self-motivator, first off, I'm going to tell you, you have to identify what are the things that nurture your spirit. And I'm maybe get a little holistic on you guys here, but you have a soul, okay? And I'm not even going to say it has anything to do with religion or anything like that. I'm going to just say it's Einstein. You have a soul, you have energy, you have a spirit. And your spirit is affected by the energies around you. It's just a fact. Now, there are things that nurture your spirit to a higher vibration and things that drain your spirit out of energy. You have to identify, literally identify, what is it that nurtures your spirit and raises your vibration. And literally, I would love for you guys to make a list. This is something that dawned on me yesterday as I was doing some of my own personal development reading. And I realized that I get to make a list of what my spirit thrives in. So I made this little note on my phone, and I'm just going to read you a couple things to kind of maybe get your mind thinking of what does your spirit thrive in. For me, I realized that my spirit thrives when there's music. I like music, playing music, soft background music, candles, oils, perfumes. I love good smells. So green trees, the sound of birds chirping, the hum of a lawnmower, like those things, listening to the hum of a lawnmower, being in a hammock, a gentle breeze, being in the mountains, the smell of pine trees, working out, running, meditation, visualizations. When there's cleanliness and order, my spirit feels better. When there's bright light and it's sunshiny, when there's a soft glow at night in the kitchen, the hum of the dishwasher, the sound of the wind rustling the leaves, wind chimes, green rolling hills, Sedona red rocks, dancing. When I go dancing, I feel my vibration, a higher vibration. Having deep, meaningful talks one-on-one with someone, Epsom salt baths, exploring new places in my car. I went on and made a very thorough list of what are the things that nurture my spirit. And I encourage you guys to do the same, because here's the thing. Your sponsoring coach isn't going to come open the door of your restaurant, and they're also not going to be your therapist, okay? That's not fair. It's not fair for you to think that your sponsoring coach is your therapist. You get to be your own therapist. You get to figure out what can you do to pull yourself out of this, okay? I can only really remember one time when Scotty had to talk me off a ledge, and I was ready to quit this business. It was about 3 or 4 months in, and I wanted to quit. And I reached out to Scotty, and I think that's the only time I really asked him to be my quote-unquote therapist and give me a big pep talk. And I'm not saying it's like bad, like if you're my coach and you're like, crap, I've asked Brigitte for lots of pep talks. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying that if you're working through things, you get to work through things like on your own, like, and figure out what are the things that lift me up and what are the things that like take away my energy and make me depressed and down. Because when there's a trigger, everybody has triggers, like a raw point. And it typically is because of the experiences that you've had in your life, right? So they're triggers. Like if there's a trigger in your life, you get to identify in that moment, I have a choice. Am I going to do something off of this list and raise my spirit, lift myself up, make a positive choice, go for a run, like open the windows, turn on the music, burn a candle, meditate, lift myself up? Or am I going to do something from the list of things that tear my spirit down? Eating Cheetos, watching Real Housewives of Orange County. That does not make me feel good. Doing these things that tear me down and make me feel like, ugh, right? Because I have a choice and I get to choose this so that I can lift my spirits and take care of myself and self-motivate. I can tell you, these CEOs of successful businesses, they are self-motivating themselves and they're doing the things to take care of themselves. Whether it's putting themselves around positive people, reading those uplifting books and feeding that in, because what you feed your mind is what you project out. It's that true garbage in, garbage out. And I can tell you, like, even Scotty does this. I mean, how many of you guys recognize this photo in the right-hand corner over here of the backyard off of Scotty's cabin? That is his place where he goes to lift his spirit. That is the place where he goes to self-motivate himself, because that view inspires him. You know, just like I was saying, being in the mountains inspires me, the green trees and hearing the rustle of the wind through the leaves. Like, those things inspire me. And he's doing those things to take care of himself. I'm totally running out of time, so some of these things I may not be able to go over. But one thing I want to mention is that you definitely have to retrain your brain to focus on these positive things. And I'm going to give you guys a tip. So I want you guys to, everyone, like, literally grab a piece of paper and write this down, okay? This is a tip to teach you how. Because so many people are like, but my mind is like full of negative thoughts and all of these things come into my mind. And when I see someone post about a new coach who's advancing a rank, I feel bad about myself. And I think, like, when I get these rejections, I start thinking, man, I suck. So these are the things that you're thinking. How do you stop it, right? Like, so many times, that was me. I had so many negative things going through my mind. And I'm like, how do I get control and retrain my mind to think differently? So I'm going to give you a little tip. Write this down, this phrase. No, that's not the truth. The truth is ... No, that's not the truth. The truth is. This is what I want you guys to memorize and say whenever these negative thoughts come into your mind. Brigida, that person said no to you because you're crap. You're not a good leader. They didn't want to join you because they would have been better off without you. You're not a good leader. You're not a good coach. No, that is not the truth. The truth is, I am an amazing coach. I can do this, and they would have been lucky to join my team because I'm going to the top. That is the truth. That's the conviction that you speak, and you stop yourself anytime those negative thoughts enter your mind, and you say, no, that is not the truth. The truth is, and then what is the opposing thing to whatever entered into your mind? Because here's the deal. If you can think positive, at least 51% of the time, the odds are in your favor. You don't even have to think positive every single moment of every single day. I'm not telling you have to be like Pollyanna here and think every single thing is beautiful and wonderful and all good things. At least 51% of the time, you do. But you catch yourself. And I'll tell you, I still have bad days. I still have self-doubt and old negative programming that is still in there in my mind that will creep up. I am not free of the triggers that ruled my life for 29 years. I'm not free of those things, but I have learned that to master that phrase. No, that is not the truth. The truth is, I am an amazing person. I have value. I deserve to live. I deserve to be here. I am a successful coach. God would not plant in me a desire to do these things if he knew I could not do this. That is the truth. That's what you get to do to self-motivate yourself, okay? That's your phrase. That's your trick. And if I can do that, you can too, okay? Third thing, okay? laser focus here. This is what a CEO does. You're going to get in this restaurant and you're going to realize there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on in this restaurant, and you got to figure out what is the most important thing for you to do, okay? There's like a million things going on. Literally write everything out. Do a brain dump. That's what I call it, a brain dump. And that's how you have the clear mind, a clear space so that you can think and act with purpose. So in the morning, as another thing I learned from therapy, let's just praise God that Brigitte was in therapy and had some smart therapists. This is called morning papers. And some of you guys have heard me talk about this before if you've been on my team. Morning papers are where you need to write down every single thing that comes into your mind, stream of consciousness. It doesn't even have to make sense. It doesn't even have to be a coherent sentence. Write down what's going through your head, because there's a lot jumbled up in there, and you've got to get it down on paper so that your thoughts, coherent thoughts, can flow through your mind. So you can get rid of the dam that is blocking the brilliance that is within you. So even if it's like, there's a fan today, I don't know if it's gonna rain, I've got blue socks, green, black, why is this over? Why are my kids still, like, it does not have to make sense. You're never gonna look at this again. But every single day, do this stream of consciousness. And I'll tell you guys, it's a really cool thing, because when you do that, you can think of some pretty amazing posts when you get everything in your mind out on paper. It's totally gonna help you if you have that writer's block, okay? So that's like my first tip there with laser focus, is to do that. Now, the other thing is to be where you are. Have that like intensity of, when I'm here, I'm here. So I have this picture here of a weave, like someone, you know, the weave, like you're not looking at the photo, maybe you don't know what I'm talking about. So this is, reminds me of the story from what we heard at Summit, and I'm totally drawing a blank on the guy's name. Who was the photographer that we had at Summit? If someone wants to comment below, so people know who I'm talking about. DeWitt Jones, thank you. He talked about this story of this woman who is known for being a masterful weaver. And he came and interviewed her and asked her, what do you think about when you weave? And she said, when I weave, I weave. And I thought that that, again, was such an amazing like clue to how she is able to create such beautiful masterpieces. When she's weaving, she's weaving. She's not thinking about anything else. She is in the moment. I love this quote. He did each single thing as if he did nothing else. When you are talking to that challenger and you're giving them the inspiration and motivation that you can do this, you are in that moment doing that thing. When you're with your kids, you are with your kids. Mindfulness. I saw someone mention that. That's what mindfulness is that wherever you are in that moment, your mind is full of that moment and you're not thinking of other things. And yes, I will tell you that that can be a hard thing in today's day and age, and especially like me, if you're like me and your mind runs 1,000,000 miles per minute and you're thinking of a lot of things. So I wanted to share with you a few tips that I do so that I can have laser focus on the things that I'm doing and identify what are the most important activities to do. Airplane mode. Number one tip for you guys. You've got to be on airplane mode. So if you are saying, okay, right now for the next 25 minutes, I'm going to craft all of my posts for the week. All of my Facebook posts, and I'm going to create some good content here. Or I'm going to get on and I'm going to upload all of my posts onto Postcron for my challenge groups. Turn your phone on airplane mode and don't have Facebook up on the side of your screen over here. When you're done with work, put your phone on airplane mode. There's no reason for you to have it on if you're with your family, I'll tell you guys, like, and especially as a mom, I had to realize that if I'm like with my kids and I'm thinking about work and I'm like halfway on my phone to see if someone messaged me back or who liked my post and did someone ask a question on my photo, and I'm like on my phone, then when I'm with my kids, I feel guilty. Like I feel like I'm not, because I'm not there. And then when I'm working, I feel guilty because I'm not with my kids. You know, so you have to be in the moment as if that's the only thing that you're doing in that moment. So eliminating the distractions is a big thing. Putting your phone on airplane mode. Turning off the notifications for your groups or notifications for like everything so that you don't look up that little notifications and hit refresh. Like every single moment that you're on the computer, you should have an intent for that moment. Like, what are you supposed to be doing in this moment? And when you move from that moment, there's another identical thing. You are not checking the notifications. You're not scrolling the news feed and just going refresh. Sorry, honey, I can't help you. I'm working. Refresh. No, you're not working. You're wasting time. So you have to learn how to create a to-do list and work from your to-do list. So the one thing that I highly recommend is called Wunderlist. Wunderlist is my favorite because it is available on the computer, but then it also has an app on my phone, and it's Wunder. If anyone wants to go download it. But I love it because I can create different lists for different activities. So if it's something like I need to do regarding the house, I can put it here, or something I need to do today, or like a master list. But then I can star things. And so every single day before I open my computer, that is what I'm doing, is I'm going through my Wunderlist and starring the things that are of most importance. And I work strictly from my list. When my list is done, I am done. And I don't want to keep refreshing my computer screen and saying, oh, but this, oh, but that, okay? So highly recommend that. Another thing that you can do to develop a laser focus in your life and in your business is to meditate. So as you're learning, I'm kind of a hippie, new age person these days, and I meditate. And I use this app. It's called Omvana. Omvana. And I love it because it helps me learn how to hone the skill of thinking of one thing at a time, you know? And so I can meditate and it just walks me through it. It's like a guided meditation, and it's like 20 minutes long. Like I like the 6 steps to meditation, and it's the guy's voice. You'll see when you get on to Omvana. So I love it. So I do that every morning, actually. I kind of have a routine. I wake up, I read my scriptures, do my personal development, I do my meditation, I do my workout, get ready for the day, and I'm listening to podcasts while I do my workout and another kind of podcast while I'm getting ready. And that is my routine so that I can be laser focused. The other thing that I want you guys to do so that you can be laser focused in your business is to focus on the behaviors that you are doing for that day as your goals. So often I see some people who will set a goal that today I'm going to sell 2 challenge packs, and that is my goal. You can't do that, actually. And I know it may sound weird coming from me saying, I don't want you to set the goal to sell 2 challenge packs today. The thing that I want you to do is to set a goal on how many people you're going to talk to today. How many people are you going to follow up with? How many seeds are you going to plant today? That is your goal. Your goal is how many posts am I going to make? Because then every single day, that's something you can control. Then you are a success. Then you're feeding this mind that you're like, okay, this is like exactly, I know that I'm fulfilling my goals because I can check all of these things off and they're within my control. Like I can control how many people I talk to. I can't always control their decisions. I can't control if they're going to say yes or no. So I just know that if I focus on the behaviors and I set my goals on the behaviors, that the natural byproduct is I'm going to get the results. But I don't focus on the results. I set my goals on what am I doing today? What are my behaviors today? And I just feel that's a great key mindset thing of staying in a CEO mindset. All right? Okay, sorry, I'm trying to wrap this up really fast. I know we're getting up on 7 o'clock. Rhino skin. This is the fourth final thing that I want to talk to you guys about today, is that you have to have rhino skin. Now, okay, such an incredible, incredible book. I know people have different books on that they recommend to people who have a fear of failure, or they have fear of like what other people think. And we've talked about, Go for No and Failing Forward, and those are great books. But can I recommend a new one? And I don't know if very many people have read this already or if they've read this specific chapter, but I'm going to recommend the Entrepreneur Roller Coaster. It's called The Entrepreneur Roller Coaster by Darren Hardy, and more specifically, the second chapter. And he has this quote on there. It says, "Great spirits have always encountered violent opposition from mediocre minds." Oh, that like gives me chills. Great spirits have always encountered that violent opposition from mediocre minds. And I love this quote he has in here as well. He just talks about how people are they want to have everybody be the same and stay together. And that's what the 90% of the people want to do. And so when you do something different, you are holding back a mirror to them saying, why are you staying where you're at? And it makes people uncomfortable because they realize they should be doing what you're doing, but they're not. And they want to throw rocks at you. So you take down the mirror or get you back in there so that you don't remind them of the dreams that they should be going after, or the changes that they should make in their life. And so of course they're going to scorn you. Of course they're going to do that because they have this hope of dragging you back to where they are so that you don't crowd them of, crap, I need to do something different, right? I love this story that he talks about in here about crabs. And he talks about these certain kind of crabs who are super easy to catch because they put a little tiny bit of bait at the bottom of this wire cage. And the first little crab goes down there and eats this bait. And just because this one little crab came into this wire cage, all these other little crabs follow in. And the only reason that these crabs stay in the cage is because if one of them tries to get out, the other crabs will claw and pull him back in to the point where if he resists, he will lose an arm. His arm will be clawed off by these other crabs because they pull them back down. That's what is happening to you. So often we make these changes in our lives and we say, I'm going to do something different. And the people who have the best interest at heart, it makes them uncomfortable because it reminds them of, you know what, I probably should be working out too. And I probably shouldn't be settling for good enough. I probably should be doing my own thing. I probably should be eating healthy. I probably should be investing in myself. And you're making me uncomfortable by pointing it out. So screw you. Why? What's wrong with you? You're weird. You're a freak. There's something wrong with you. What's wrong with you? That's what happens. And no, it doesn't make sense, right? It totally does not make sense. I don't know why that happens, but it does. It's the same reason. Why would a crab pull down the other crab and rip his leg off because he was trying to better his situation and get out? I don't know. But that's what happens to you. And you guys have to be so resolute in your decision in what you want and identify that it is not about you. They're not, it's not that there's something wrong with you, that these people are saying anything about you, or that they're pushing against you, or that they're rejecting you, or that they're saying no. It's because they're thinking about themselves and they're talking about themselves. Okay? So just know it has nothing to do with you to start with. Another thing I wanted to share with you, let me pull this out here. I want you guys to, if I'm going to give you another piece of homework here, I want you to identify, what does success mean for you? Because if you're going to have rhino skin, you have to know like what it is that you want out of life. And here's the thing, when you know what you want and it's so ingrained in you and you feel this strong, strong passion that you're like, this is what I want and it's going to be so awesome, you don't care what people say. You don't care what people are saying about you, because you're like, I know this is going to be worth it. I know that like this is where I want to be in my life and I'm going for it. It's going to feel amazing. But so many people set these goals and they're like, I want to be diamond in 60 days. Why? Why do you want to go diamond? Other than your sponsor wants you to, you're told that you're supposed to, and you saw this opportunity to pay $20 and earn money if you go diamond. It has to go deeper than that. Like, I knew that diamond was a stepping stone. I knew that I wanted to bring my husband home. I knew that I wanted our family to have dinner together, because my husband was working 2 jobs when we got started and we weren't even eating family dinner together. Like, I knew that I needed to get to diamond if that was ever going to happen, because I needed to get to diamond and show people that I'm a leader, and then they're going to believe in me and say, well, if you've got to diamond, then you can show me how to get to diamond. And then I can progress my business to a point where I can get my husband home. But the end goal was not, I want to be a 15-star diamond coach. It wasn't not like, I just want to be a diamond coach in 60 days. It was like the grander vision, because I knew what that success would feel like for me. So literally write down, what does success look like for you? What does success mean for you? And what does it feel like? When you write this down, I want you guys to do something for me. And my team hears me talk about this all the time. I want you guys to set 2 alarms on your phone every morning, 10 minutes apart. And when the first one goes off, I want you to be visualizing that vision in your mind of what success looks like for you. What can you do then when you reach your goals that you cannot do now? What does it feel like? And what does a daily life look like once you have reached your goals? And spend 10 minutes every single morning visualizing that in your life, like how that feels and what's going on. And when you do that, then when the second alarm goes off and you're done and you wake up and you've done that every single day consistently, then you don't care what people say about you, because you're so passionate about this and you know what you want. I'll tell you guys, I definitely had people like pushing against me. I definitely had people who were mocking me for doing Beachbody. But I was visualizing every single day what I wanted in my life, so I didn't care. Because in my mind, like, I could feel what it would feel like to have my husband home. And I knew it was worth it. I knew it was going to be worth pursuing. I love this quote from Steve Jobs. And this quote, just to give you a little background, this quote was given right after he was diagnosed with I'm totally saying that name wrong. Right after he was diagnosed with cancer, and he was speaking at Stanford University graduation students. And he says to them, thank you. Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't be trapped by dogma, which is living with the result of other people's thinking. Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown you out, your own inner voice. And most important, have the courage to follow your own heart and intuition. They somehow already know what you truly want to become. Everything else is secondary. And I just think that there are so many like key nuggets of truth in that statement and in that quote. Namely, like, I love that he says that you already know what you want. Like, your sponsoring coach cannot breathe into you your goals. This is what your spirit knows, like, that you deserve. Like, God has planted in you some goals and visions for your life, and he's done that not to be cruel because you can't accomplish those things. He's done that for a reason, because that's what you're designed to do. That's what you are meant to do with your life. And you get to listen to that and pay attention to that and do what you're supposed to do and follow like your own rhythm, your own story, and your own vision for your life. And you cannot let what other people's experiences have been change your route. I love this story. Well, it's kind of a sad story, I guess, but about this mother dog. She was pregnant with her puppies, and she got hit by a car, and she was able to drag off of the street and kind of limp to the side, and she was dragging her feet instead of just sitting still so much. And so that when her leg finally healed, she would walk, but she kind of always dragged her back foot and was limping. And so this mother, she had her puppies, and as these puppies learned to walk, they were dragging their same foot behind. And the owner was like, what's going on? Did these dogs get injured as well? And took them to the vet to be inspected. And the vet's like, no, they're fine. There's no broken bones. Like, everything is fine. And they just realized that these puppies had been watching this mother, and that's what they thought was the norm. They thought, like, this is how you're supposed to walk. You're supposed to drag this foot as you're walking. I want to challenge you guys to think internally and realize, like, what things that are negative thoughts or what beliefs or goals have been planted in your mind that are not reality. Like, are you walking along dragging your foot because that's what your parents did, or that's what your friends did, and everybody did it this certain way, and so you just figured you're always supposed to drag your foot behind you, and that's the norm? Delete that faulty programming that has been installed into your hard drive. Delete it and realize that your spirit knows, like, what you're meant to accomplish. Your spirit knows, and so pay attention and listen to that and follow that, because you're like destined to do great things. I promise you. I'm losing my voice for some reason already, but I promise you that I had to do the same thing. I had to delete the faulty programming that had been put in my life, that I am worthless, I don't have value, and I'm a victim, and everything that could possibly go wrong happens to me, and I'm never going to amount to anything. I had to change that. I had to change everything, and I had to learn how to do these things. I had to learn how to be a big thinker. I had to learn how to self-motivate, and I had to learn how to be laser focused on what I'm doing in this moment. And I had to learn how to develop rhino skin, and so failure didn't bring me down, and failure and the opinions of other people didn't bring me down. And I learned those things, and you guys can too. I promise to you that if I can, you can learn these things. But these are key characteristics of what a CEO does, and the mindset that they have, and the way that they think. These are clues. These are success clues that, if you follow them, will lead you to great success, so that you can have the same experiences of having many diamonds on your team and many star diamonds on your team, and having this successful business because you think this way. This is how you run your business. These are the clues that you are doing to bring you success. Because I'm going to tell you guys something. If there was ever a time to do this and to follow your passion and to follow your dreams and do something that matters, the time is now. There's no guarantee for tomorrow. There's no guarantee that you're going to get another chance. I thank God that I was given another opportunity. to do something with my life, and that Beachbody came along because I had had many opportunities up to that, in college to do that. I had an opportunity to serve a mission for my church, and a week before my date that I was supposed to sign in and go, I backed out. My opportunities to do real estate, my opportunities to do various things, and I missed them. And I will tell you guys, this business has been a struggle. I'm not going to lie. But I can tell you from experience that struggle is far less painful than regret. Because you don't want to live with the regret of, I wish I would have gone for this. I wish I would have moved past myself, because you are the only thing that is holding you back from success. You are the only thing that is holding you back from achieving these goals. Get in, open your restaurant, take the chairs off the table, open the register, get to work, and think big. Keep laser focused on every activity that you're doing. Self-motivate yourself, and screw the world and what everybody else is thinking and people who say no, because you have a mission in your life to accomplish, and you're meant to do great things. And that's it. That's all I wanted to share with you guys. Thank you for getting on this call. I appreciate all of you kind of staying over. I know we went over 10 minutes, but hopefully this resonates for you, and and you can see that this is your chance to do something with your life. So thanks for getting on tonight, guys.